One early morning in the first week of April, my partner and I were walking in the Cape Cod woods when we spotted a group of 11 great egrets in the trees bordering a small kettle pond in Chatham. We retrieved our cameras to record this encounter, which lasted until mid-morning, when the flock was disturbed by crows and left abruptly, circling the pond a few times at treetop level, then proceeding east toward the ocean. We were somewhat familiar with egrets, often spotting them in small groups at estuaries and marshes. This encounter was different. The isolated pond and the absence of shallow wading space suggested that this might be a nesting locale, or at least an overnight roosting spot. We committed to revisiting this location periodically for future encounters. Our efforts were rewarded a few evenings later when we spotted 2 egrets in flight over our residence, heading toward the pond. Arriving just before sunset, we spotted a large flock of egrets gathered on branches of a tree that had fallen into the pond at the water's edge. The group continued to grow in size as the day ended, finally reaching a head count of over 60 members. This was a mixed flock of great and snowy egrets. The snowy egrets were more numerous than the greats, comprising about 80 to 90% of the flock. As the fallen tree became more and more congested, some interesting social behavior was observed. The snowies started becoming territorial, squawking and posturing at neighbors that appeared to intrude on their space. The more sedate great egrets found locations higher up in the standing trees, further along the shore. The snowies also migrated slowly to the taller trees, joining their larger cousins in the safer heights. Jockeying for territory continued noisily. The collective group gradually quieted as the night closed in. Arriving at the pond at sunrise, we would find the flock clustered in the same positions from the night before. The most common wake-up activity was preening. There was some moving around the roosting area. As the sun rose higher, a few single birds began to leave. Eventually, groups of several to a dozen left at once. One lap around the pond, and they were gone. A final group departed without a single individual left. This evening and subsequent morning observations continued for 2 weeks. A pattern of behavior was established in which the evening arrivals would collect on the fallen tree, have an interval of social interaction, then all members would relocate to the tall trees on either the western or northern shores of the pond. The relocation was led by the large egrets and followed by the snowies. The departure times in the morning became earlier as the sunrise came sooner over the month of April. Toward the end of the month, we saw fewer and fewer birds performing this roosting ritual. On one of the last mornings, 2 great egrets perched in a tree on the east side of the pond and stayed long enough for us to get some great close-ups. Finally, the day came when they were no longer present at this particular pond. We looked around at a few other alternative roosting places, but never found the flock again. Nor did we understand why they chose and ultimately abandoned this particular Chatham pond.